Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, February 5th, and class is in session. I am Michael Carls. We are brought to you by Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority, and I decided instead of me looking at the view all day, why don't you guys take a look at it for once? And we are live outside Big Rock Golf and Pub, looking over the 18th green right here, and today it's going to be, we're going to be recapping some of the playoffs have kicked off, and we are going to be recapping some of the scores, what you can see tonight, and we also did finally get our all CIF selections for football, so I will be naming our Valley players with that also. So let's recap. We did have two girls soccer wildcard games last night. Division 6 Palm Springs took care of Riverside Prep 6-2, so they will be moving on to the first round of the Division 6 girls soccer playoffs. And then for Division 7, Desert Hot Springs girls blanked Fairmont Prep 4-0, so they will also be moving on to the first round of the playoffs for Division 7. On the slate tonight, we have girls water polo playoffs, big time girls water polo playoffs tonight for the Valley. To start off, we have Division 4 La Quinta, who are 24-1. Good grief. Somebody stop these ladies. Yeah, right. DEL #1 seed and the #1 overall seed in Division 4. They will be taking on Vista Murrieta at home. Vista Murrieta is 12-12, and they are an at-large bid from the Southwestern League. Next in Division 4, we have Xavier Prep, who are 12-16 on the year. They were the #2 seed from the DEL, the Desert Empire League, and they will be traveling to Great Oak. They are 18-8, and they tied for second in the Southwestern League. Moving over to Division 5 girls water polo playoffs, Palm Desert, who are 14-5-1 on the year. They are #3 in the DEL. Wow. Well, so there that gives you a little perspective on what your record versus conference versus overall can do for you. As you can see, Xavier Prep doesn't have the better overall record for versus Palm Desert with their 14-5-1, but did have the better head-to-head record, giving them the nod in the #2 seed for the DEL. So for Division 5, Palm Desert, the #3 seed, they will be traveling to Citrus Valley, who are 22-8, and they are #2 from the Citrus Belt League. Now Division 6, Palm Springs, who are 6-7 on the year, haven't played as many games as the rest. They are the #4 seed from the DEL League, and they will be traveling to Canyon Springs, who are 7-18 on the year, and they will be from the Sun Belt League, and they tied for second with that seed. And for tonight, we do have boys soccer. Boys soccer Division 4. Cathedral City will be going to Pasadena for their wild card game tonight, hoping to get into the first round of the playoffs. I do know for most of these games, they are either at 3 or 5 o'clock, depending on the time in which both teams have chosen. And so we are going to move on to the all CIF football teams being announced. Actually, I'm going to tease that for you, and we're going to actually take a quick recess here, and when we come back, we are going to go over these all CIF football teams, and we also are going to go over making a highlight tape and the tips that you can do for any sport and creating that highlight tape and how you can get some colleges to notice you. So we will be right back, and this is Class. We are back in class, brought to you by Clahs Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority. I am here live at Big Rock Golf and Pub, hanging outside today. A little chilly out, not too bad. Sun is trying to poke through, but there is a bit of a breeze. But it is still a beautiful day in the desert nonetheless, and we do finally, after much anticipated, we have been waiting for these all CIF selection football teams. These are for players that played in the playoffs in their respective divisions and were recognized not just only from the Valley but in their entire division as standout athletes. And so we are going to start with Division 7. Division 7, we had one player on the defensive side of the ball, linebacker, senior, La Quinta, Fred Massey. Fred Massey was a beast all year for that La Quinta defense, flying around, making tackles, making plays in the backfield for his team, and trying to keep them in games as much as he could on the defensive side, and also did play some offense and was an effective blocker and runner in the run game too. So props to Fred on that Division 7 defensive selection. Division 9, we have three players from the Palm Desert team. Running back, senior Jordan Garcia, who was the DEL offensive MVP this year, and not a surprise that he gets the nod for a selection on the All-CIF team. Great running back, good vision. Has quick feet, deceptively fast in the open field, and can break away on you if need be. And it is no surprise to me that he is the leading rusher in Palm Desert history, so props to him. Next is on the defensive side of the ball, linebacker, senior Honoree Solomon, who was also a Defensive Player of the Year in the DEL. Great player, flies around, gets after it, and is one of the things that stood out for me, especially when he played against Xavier Prep, was his ability to get his other guys into the correct positions on defense, being able to point things out and get his guys lined up correctly. So that is one thing. Football IQ is huge, especially in the recruiting process. So props to him on that football IQ and being able to get his guys in the right spots in a timely manner. Last, for Division 9, we have a kicker, senior Jacob McElroy, who did play a little bit of defense also for that Palm Desert team. Was a great corner for them, able to get picks when need be for them. Had a couple of huge ones in the La Quinta game, I believe, and is a knack for the ball and clutch on those kicks, as CIF did recognize him for his clutch kicking. For Division 10, we have three players. Quarterback, sophomore from Coachella Valley, Donnie Fitzgerald. No surprise there, being the best quarterback in the Valley, putting up a ridiculous amount of yards and touchdown combo. I know he wants to be able to move his team further into those CIF playoffs and get that ring, so I will be hoping to see him back on this list yet again for years to come. Also from Division 10 on the offensive side of the ball, his brother, senior wide receiver from Coachella Valley, Angelo Fitzgerald. Angelo is huge in that run and shoot offense for Coachella all year long. Being able to take the top off a defense, being able to line up on lined up on the single side of the ball, and being able to take not only a corner but a safety with them, opening up the middle of the field for other guys, and being able to be a selfless player in that aspect. And that is huge when you're in that run and shoot offense, being able to be selfless and being able to accept other guys getting the football, and you will get your touches, don't worry, it's just not going to be on every single one. So props to Angelo, great athlete, great receiver, great kid, and props to him. Last, for Division 10, on the defensive side of the ball, defensive lineman, junior from Shadow Hills, Jake Shipley. Jake is a force for that Shadow Hills offense and defensive line. Guy gets great push. He has good leverage. Big guy, strong, and gets after it. He's a nasty type kid. And when I say that, he's a guy that we like in terms of football, being nasty. Not afraid to mix it up with other guys. Not afraid to get down there and make some plays in the trenches. Being able to move all over that defensive line and being able to help in that run game and that being able to catch the ball from a tight end standpoint on the offensive side of the ball for Shadow Hills. So he is going to be a guy to definitely watch for again next year. And last, we have Division 12 with our most number of all CIF selections is the Xavier Prep Saints, who did make it the furthest. They did make it to the semifinals of the Division 12 playoffs, falling short of the finals to Linfield Christian, who did end up winning the Division 12 title. And first we have offensive lineman, sophomore from Xavier Prep, is Jack Howard. Jack Howard is one of the, if not the best all-around football players in the Valley already as a sophomore. Just to give you a quick hint on when I knew Jack was the man. Very first play of varsity experience against Notre Dame his freshman year, he shocks, rips, and throws the guy and blocks a screen pass to the outside all in one play as a true freshman, and just continues to eat up double teams and triple teams on the defensive side from teams, only being a sophomore. And on the offensive side, literally Jack could play any single position that he plays, whether it be line, receiver, running back. Heck, the kid can even throw at quarterback. And it's just a testament to being a true teammate and a true leader for that team, doing whatever is asked of him and playing a selfless position like the offensive line, where a team like Xavier does need that kind of help, is so huge, and being able to contribute in that way is so huge for his team. So props to Jack on that. Next is wide receiver, junior Logan Pesco. Logan literally tore up anybody that was across from him from a corner standpoint. The guy can go up and get the ball whenever he needs to. Just needs to try to stay as healthy as he can. Hopefully getting in that weight room and being able to come back next year to be able to put in an entire body of work so teams can truly see and hopefully that they won't be giving up too many touchdowns on him, because the kid can do it on almost every single play. And can't wait to see what Logan does for the Saints next year. Moving to the defensive side of the ball, we have senior DB Fabrice Voin. And Fabrice, the entire year, grew into not only just being a D1 talent, he grew into a D1 football player game after game after game. And the biggest game on the year, that quarterfinals game against Nogales, when senior linebacker Tommy Brankenier does go down on the very first defensive drive of the game. Fabrice being able to be that senior leader to bring his team together, not shy away from the moment, but being able to stick his nose in there and make play after play for his defense. Big time stops for losses, and then turning around on the offensive side of the ball and being able to be that bell cow and that workhorse, taking the hits from the running back position, getting those tough yards, staying in bounds, making that clock run, and ultimately getting his team a victory. So it was awesome to be able to watch Fabrice mold into a young football player that's going to be devastating right away. As soon as he gets to the next level in college, I believe he's going to make an impact right away on the special teams, if not on the defensive side of the ball. And so props to him and congratulations to him. Next is DB senior Juan Lua. Juan, arguably one of the best corners in the entire Valley, and you wouldn't notice that because nobody tries to throw on him. That's why it's that when you get no recognition, when nobody's trying to throw on you, that's when you don't get any of the stats, and that's what you kind of want to be as a corner. You want teams to be fearful of you, and when it came down to it, Juan did lock up one side of the field when we were getting down late into games, late into that La Quinta / playoff brief run, Juan really blossomed into a great young football player, and on the offensive side of the ball, making big catch after big catch for his team when receivers were going down and he had to fill in at spots. Juan was just a huge senior leader that was able to just plug and play, and is striving to play at the next level. Great young kid that is just always looking to learn, so I can't wait to see what he does at the next level also. Next, we have D lineman senior Daniel Martinez. Daniel is one of the most athletic kids that you will find. Not the ideal size you want from a defensive end, but man, can that kid get to the quarterback using his speed and being able to stay low and get around those big offensive linemen and be able to get to the quarterback and finish tackles. Was always able to find the ball. Had back-to-back years against Palm Springs where he recovered fumbles for touchdowns, one this year being the game winner. And so Daniel Martinez was a huge benefit for that defensive line. And finally, we have senior linebacker Tommy Branconier. What more could you say about Tommy? Tommy was the ultimate leader for his team by example, making hundreds of tackles on the year, top 10 in California in tackles. Just an incredible young kid. Was always able to be a leader in that cornerstone for that team no matter what. Was always trying to be the first one around the ball and always trying to bring everyone else with him. And so for Tommy, who did tear his ACL in that Nogales game, will be coming back stronger than ever. I can guarantee it. The kid is tough, and the kid is just a delight to be around, and is someone that they should have you want a Tommy on your football team. Let's just put it that way. And that is our all CIF selection for each division and all the Valley players that did make the team. So to them, congratulations. That's a huge honor. That's something that shouldn't be glazed over, because that's all CIF. That's the entire division, and all of those coaches choose those players. So congratulations to all of you. And now something so beneficial for parents and coaches and players all to know about creating a highlight tape in the recruiting process. That's something that each player now, that's almost like the first thing that they want to make and get done and show their friends and look at how good I am type thing, right? But so there should be, you want to make it the right way. You don't want to just put it together and it be boring, or you're doing something that maybe shouldn't be on there, or this or that, or you're not quite sure how to start. So let me give you some tips to creating a highlight recruiting tape for you, and this is applicable to any sport. So don't just think that this is you can apply this only to football or basketball or whatever. This is any film that is filmed for you, like your games, any game that is filmed, you can apply this and make a highlight tape on your own. So number one, this is definitely big as a player. You should let your coaches know your intentions on furthering your career. So by letting your coaches know that you are trying to make a highlight tape and a profile, and you want to get your name out there and be recruited by either big schools or small colleges or whatever the case is, you need to let them know what those intentions are, so then that now they can start looking for you and helping you in that process. The coaches are there to help you with that, and it is huge to have them on your side, being able to find the right fits for you, find coaches that are looking for players because of their connections, right? So understand that if you don't add your coach into this important process, you're missing out on a big chunk of access to a lot of schools and other coaches and other things of that nature. Okay. Other thing too is telling someone also makes it real, right? So just by believing yourself, okay, I want to be recruited, I want to do this and do that, and you keep it to yourself, okay, that's one thing. You don't have anybody else that is looking out for your interest on that. It's just you. So if you don't quite make it, then it's just on you. No big deal. Nobody else knew. But if you tell your coaches or you tell a group of people what your intentions are. Now you make that real. Now that's something that is out there in the open so that somebody can ask you about, hey, how is this going? Hey, how's that going? And so you want to make sure that you're on top of that so that you're not missing out, or you're falsely following something when you truly don't have your heart in it. You are now, as a coach, when we know that players are looking to play at the next level, or they say, oh, I want to go D1. Okay, well, now we are going to hold you now to a higher standard. Okay, so there's a standard in terms of being successful and being a good high school athlete, and then there's a standard of being a college player, D1 scholarship, I don't want to pay for school player, right? Okay, so there's somebody that just does it for fun and is there and just it's a good time and it's a good hobby and those are good memories, and that's all well and good. But when we're making highlight tapes and we want to get to the next level, we have to be at a higher standard. We need to tighten up our entire process of everything, right? So that includes stuff on the field as well as off the field. Number one, a coach should never have to worry about what you're doing off the field, and that's good, bad, or indifferent. Number two, they should never have to worry about your grades. If you're really committed about going to college and playing college sports, grades should be the easiest thing that you have to take care of, because in the end, when you do get to college, when you have 6 a.m. workouts and then you have to go to class at 8 right after that, you got to be able to do it, and it's going to be tough. And if you can't hack it in high school, you definitely won't be able to hack it there. Number three, when it comes to holding yourself to a higher standard, even when it's at practice, you should be the first on everything, trying to do everything the right way, listening to coaches. If it's sprints, I want to be the one that finished first on sprints. I'm the best on this team. I want to be the best. I want to prove everyone I'm the best. I want to prove that I'm a leader. So you can't lead by the back by just jogging and joking around and, oh, I'm the best already, so I don't need to do all of this. No, if anything, you need to put in more work, because when you put in more of that work now and early and other guys see it, they're going to be able to trust you later in games, deep when it's playoff time, and they got to dig deep for that one little extra, and they remember, oh, that's right, Mike did that last rep and he made it first every single time. Like, let's go get this. Like, I got you. Like, let's go. Okay, so when everybody else sees you working just as hard as them, if not more, then they think they have to step their game up too. Okay, so being going through this entire process actually helps you become a better leader and a better player throughout all of this. The last thing, and I struggled with this just because I didn't know the entire process, is ask for help. Okay, you don't need to do this on your own. Okay, so if you don't know what to do, I would start first, ask a coach. Most of the time the coaches are going to know, or if not, they're going to direct you in the proper direction to get you whatever it is that you need. All right, so don't pretend like you have to do this on your own. Ask for help, get involved, or have your parents or coaches or anyone be involved in this entire process. It's a fun process to be recruited and to look at schools and pick them and visit them. It is a fun time, so enjoy it. We got fancy, a little fancy there, huh? I like it. Number two, okay, so after you let your coaches know your intentions and what your intentions are, and you've made that all apparent, okay, so now we need to start making this highlight, right? Now we need to start picking clips, okay? First and foremost, you need to watch all of the film, okay? As an athlete, if you can't watch yourself and critique yourself and look at all of those things, how are you going to be able to put together your entire list of your best plays, right? So make sure, whether it's your best game or your worst game, you never know. You might see something in there that you may not have remembered, or you may have not thought that would make the cut, but it does. Okay? So for me, I would say I would say pick out 30 of your best clips. 30 is a good number to start, right? So when we pick those 30 out, we want to self-assess, okay? These are our best plays. If I was using a rating system of stars, like let's say five stars being the max, 1 being the least, are all of these plays at minimum 5 or 4-star plays? If they are not, you get rid of them right off the bat. Okay, we want to trim this clip into something. It's almost like trimming the fat, right? We don't want anything that's unnecessary in there. We want it short and sweet. Okay, so coaches need to be able to get in there, look what they're looking for, and assess you right then and there, right? So if it takes a long process, they'll just cut you out right from the jump because they don't have any time to waste. Okay, so once you do that, I would say the best range for a time for your highlight tape would be between the 3 to 6 minute range. That's what I believe to be the best in terms of a highlight tape being able to engage a coach and be able to hold his attention. Normally, for mine, when I used to make them, I would make them one song, a song length, right? So whatever song that I was choosing for my highlight tape, I would make it that length. Anytime it's a little longer, it just, feels kind of funny, and anything shorter, you might not have gotten enough in there, right? So between the 3 to 6 minute mark or one song is normally sufficient. And the last thing when picking these clips, right, remember what coaches are looking for, okay? First and foremost, they're going to look to see if you're good or not, right? Okay, that's number one. Second is your IQ in that sport, okay? So as an example, let's use I'm going to use baseball as an example. Let's mix it up, okay? So say I'm recruiting you and you're a pitcher, right? And it's an 0-2 count. Now, in normal baseball philosophies, old school thinking mentality, normally on 0-2 pitches, you want to waste it something low and away in the dirt or something high and inside, like a high fastball inside, right? So as a coach, I would be looking at if you're using these same instances in your highlight tapes, right? So am I picking and choosing, and am I making the correct plays? On the defensive side of the ball for football, in motion as a DB, do I align and change my stance based on motion from someone else or the change of formation, right? So it's the sports IQ is one of the things that coaches are looking for. Next is your athleticism, right? They're looking to see how athletic you are, your agility, speed, strength, all of those things that are applicable to your sport and how they can help the team that you're trying to be recruited to. And finally, looking at versatility. Okay, so you may see yourself as one position, or you may have played one position dominantly your entire high school career. However, a coach may be looking at you completely different and may see something that you may have never seen before or may have never even attempted before. A perfect example would be Tommy Brancaneer going from being a quarterback his junior year, doing a successful job there in a few games, to being now the top 10 tackler in California as a linebacker, right? So it's being able to be versatile and being able to change positions and being able to show coaches that you're not afraid to do all of those different things, especially when you first get there, because as a true freshman, you have to try to prove yourself any way possible to prove that you can play. Get my fancy water again.
And Mike, you picked up on a good thing, which was, while you're looking at your tape, you got to be able to critique yourself, and you got to be able to know you cannot afford to take a rep off, because if you take a rep off, that could be that game that the coaches want to see, because every coach wants to see a full game film. You never want to take a rep off.
Absolutely. That's such a good point by Scott right there, especially for for football coaches, I know that they're going to be, I want to see your 2 best games and your 2 worst games, or your 3 best games and your 3 worst games, right? So a football coach doesn't want to just see the best plays. The highlight tape is, yes, the hook to get you in, but eventually they're going to want to see entire game films, and they're going to watch, well, is he walking in between plays? Is he taking a play off when the ball is going on the opposite way? Is he just not really caring about what's going on, and he's just worried about staying safe or protected, or whatever the case is, right? So understand, coaches are looking at everything, and they're looking for every little thing to critique. So if you can't even critique yourself on those little things, or you don't think they matter, they do. That's a good point. I like that. Next, I want to talk about music, because this is a point of topic, especially for the younger generation, about putting music on your highlight tape. When I've looked up research on this, most experts say no, don't put music, or you shouldn't have music. They think coaches would just mute it. But I may be different with that, especially now with the younger coaches coming in, especially for me. If I'm a young coach and somebody has a sweet jam on their highlight tape, that might make that highlight tape that much better for me, and I might actually think it's better than what it really is. So some of those factors may factor into that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But so if you do use music in your highlight tape, keep these things in mind, okay? Number 1, a bad song can make your plays look bad, right? So if I pick a slow, downtrodden, hate the world song, and it just doesn't flow with whatever highlight I'm watching, might make the highlights look boring, and I may turn it off sooner than when I actually really should, or I might be missing a really good player just based on that. Number 2, we want to stay away from bad language. Anything that is cussing, or things that are just really inappropriate or have nothing to do with the sports at all, get rid of those. Get rid of those right off the bat. Number 1 for that is, you never know, whatever highlight tape you're sending, you never know what culture you're sending that highlight tape to. Okay, so your dreams. Roadrunner just running by, I love it. Your dream school may be a school that is very faith-based, and their football program is something that is a culture that is no nonsense about that type of stuff. And so when you send something that has those expletives in them, a coach will just write you off right from the get-go. I do remember when I was in college, my head coach was going on his recruiting trip, and he asked me about California schools, and he had a list of schools that he had already crossed off. And I was like, well, coach, like, you crossed off some of the better schools. And he's like, well, those schools, their players that sent their film, or that sent their profiles, just didn't fit our culture, just wouldn't fit in here, and they wouldn't be able to buy into our program. So whether that may be true or not to a coach, that is something that they look at. So make sure that you are presentable when you're making this highlight tape. And just one final thing about highlight tapes, whether you're on the fence about them or not. I always had one for mine, and I always used instrumentals, just the beats for music and not having the words. And when I was recruited, the coach did ask me when I went on my visit, he's like, hey, man, the song you picked for your highlight tape was awesome, man. What song is that? I'm going to use that for another highlight tape for the season for our team. Like, that's great. So I just think about, like, okay, if he thought that highlight tape was good, or he liked the music to it, that means he didn't watch it just once. That means he watched it multiple times, and when every time he watched it, it was like an upbeat, it felt good to him, and he liked what he was watching / listening, right? So that put a good little nugget in there of, like, hey, this is a good highlight tape. And so finally, I want to get over ultimately, what do you want your highlight to say? What is your highlight saying about you? Okay, and AP English teachers are going to love this one, okay? I compare it to writing a story. Okay, your highlight tape is writing a story about your sports career, whatever it is, that season that just happened, that highlight, a recap of everything, and you want them to see all the best stuff. Okay, so when you write this story, it needs to have a concise beginning, middle, and end. It needs to flow, and in that beginning you need to hook your audience. You need to hook them in so they watch the entire thing, right? So normally I would always make sure, no matter what, I have my first 5 best plays right off the jump. My number 1 is going right first, just so you can see, hey, how are you? Touchdowns, we like them, and then boom, the play after play after play. And now, once you get to the 5th one, that person's going to be looking for the next one, and then the next one, and then once you realize they've watched the whole thing. Okay, so make sure that we're writing a story and that it flows well, and that you have that hook in there to really grasp whoever's watching it in. Okay, and this is in some cases a coach's first impressions of you. So you want those impressions to be good, and you want them to stand out versus someone else's. And I say all this to say, you have to ultimately be yourself when making this, right? So you don't want to be fake, and you don't want to put things that you normally wouldn't do, or this, that, and the other, because deceiving yourself is one thing. Deceiving another person is completely different, and you don't want to do that. And to be honest, if the school does not like who you really are, then that school is just not the right fit for you, in my opinion. So be yourself. Make sure that the message you're sending out there is good. Don't be afraid to put some music on there if you want. Make sure it's clean, and make sure you're having fun creating this, because ultimately, no matter what, when you make this highlight tape, yes, you're making it for coaches, but at the end of the day, that highlight tape is for you, and that's something that you're going to be able to hold on to for the rest of your life. I mean, those are videos that you'll be able to share for years and years to come, and you want those to be, hey, I remember making that. That was awesome, and that it's something that you really enjoy, right? And so that is going to do it for this edition of Clahs. Yes, Scott's got one more thing.
Okay, your email. You should always send emails to coaches from either your school email or a more professional email. Don't send it from an email you made when you were 12 years old, like, beast mode 1235, or like big sexy number 62. Always send it from your school, or make it professional. Like mine is just alvarez.scott@gmail. It's just, you got to clean that up too.
That is a good point, right? So, and I totally blanked on that, right? You can send this highlight tape out yourself. Don't be afraid to pump it out as much as you want. But yes, like Scott is saying, be professional with your email, and be professional when you're sending that email. When I used to send out my highlight tape to schools, I would put right in the subject my name, position, and my GPA, because that's something that would stand out to a recruit, especially when it's a 3.0 or higher. That's something that they really enjoy. And yes, make sure, I always just make a professional email of first and last name at whatever email engine you want to use. But yes, so make sure it is professional, and don't be afraid to pump that thing out. The more you send it out, the more eyes see it, and the more it gets looked at, and that's always a good thing. Okay, and that is now going to do it for our edition of Clahs today. We are brought to you by Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority, and I thank you for stopping by here, as I am live at Big Rock Golf and Pub, and Clahs is dismissed.